All right, good evening, guys. Ken of Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for March 29th, 2023. We'll start with the um, swing trade portfolio. So we're going to be looking at Alcoa first. So these are all on 30 minutes. This blue bar I'm just showing so you can see where today's price action was. So that's 2 days. That's yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So 1, 2, and 3 days like that. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Alrighty. So Alcoa, 2 days ago, we took the COTA 2, held it through the little wave, and rode it up into here. We're holding this. It's about +1 compared to the risk box, and feels all right. We'll just let it run another day. Caterpillar was a really nice play. Also 3 days ago, got the SSC, rode this wave twice, and it closed very well at the top of the day. And we're holding 1, 2, almost 3R. And I'm still looking for it to get up into this region, which is the peak of the RL10 and the peak of the Dragon. That's also the 5-day high, so that's really our target. But that one feels good. I think an appropriate stop on that one is right there and lock in +2. Keep 2/3. Cliff, also a single position. Also a COTA 2 entry. Tight risk box. And that one closed well to here, so that's 1, 2, also +3. And I'm going to preserve 2 out of the 3. This turned out to be a pretty good week. Now this is CVS. This rolled over, and so we took the short. And yesterday that closed to here, and then today it gapped, and then monkeyed around. And as it started to recover, I basically got out of that plus no lose plus dinner for 2. So we ended up that was almost 2R at its peak, and then the gap brought it right back to basically just slightly better than a scratch. That's one of the the advantages of swing trading and the joys and the pain of swing trading, right? So you just deal with it. Devon Energy, yesterday we took the 2-day gift to here, and because we exited there, that one gapped in our favor, so we gave back another, at least an R, maybe 2. But no play on this one. But it's at a 10-day high, so I'm ready to play this in either direction tomorrow. I'm going to treat that as the zero state, and I think there's more upside. But what I'm concerned about on that one, which is why we got out here, is I'm concerned you got resistance, and it really didn't run today. It just kind of stabilized. So I still feel really good about that trade, and I'm glad I didn't chase, and now I have a direction neutral tight risk box to work out of. Electronic Arts, we took a COTA 2 entry today. Now Electronic Arts is nice because we can get a really tight manageable risk box in this thing, and that thing closed well, and I was really tempted to cash it because that's one risk. So that's at +2, but I'm going to hold it because this time, if it can break through this level, it's free and clear. And I like the fact that the long-term gains are there. And even after this gap up, the sell-off held and it resumed. So this feels pretty nice on a longer time frame. And if we look back at this, this is a Godzilla that was triggered way back in the day because of that big gap. But if you notice the height of the gap right there, this last 2 days is all voting to the upside. So it has resolved all this tension to the upside, and now there's, halfway is here, 124 is in play, and then back to full value at 130. So this still has a lot of play in it, and I like Electronic Arts, and that's what happens with the Godzilla when you can tap into those early turnarounds. Sometimes on the tactical play like this, you can lose sight of that larger setting. Emerging markets. Yesterday we took the gap and go, and it closed well. Today it gapped and held. So we're holding about +1. And I like this because it's postured to test that previous swing high. And if it breaks out of here, in retrospect, we'll see, oh yeah, that was obviously a Kata 2, and why not? So I like that, holding +1, and ready to go tomorrow. Ethereum, yesterday's exit felt pretty good. No change on that one today. No pattern. Mexico, I've been beating the drum on this one. Strongest index. And here it is. Here's the payoff. Nice tight risk. This is as straightforward a Kata 2 as you could ask for. So there, and notice the tight risk box. And here's where it closed today. So on the first position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yesterday we got the breakout from the shelf and go, and it closed well. So that one is holding 1, 2, 3, 4. And then today on the gap up that cleared the emerging dragon, we get that one, which is another +2. So we're looking at 13, and it's free and clear. It just made a new 10-day high today, and it's very near these all-time highs over in here. So this is the test tomorrow. If this breaks and keeps going, we have every reason to believe it could get to the 30-day high at 60.50, and that thing's just going to go. You could look at this as 1 support, 2 support, 3 support, and go. And if it breaks out of this 30-day box, look out above, because that's an all-time high, or at least in the look-back period. So that's 13R and smooth sailing. And that's going to be a turbo tomorrow. And that's only on the 30-minute chart. So Mexico has been a frog champion since we first developed that concept back in 2016. It has been nothing but good. Only good in Mexico. Brazil, the re-entry. So we took the gift, missed the gap, but yesterday we added. It closed well. Today it tested and held, and actually closed here, sorry. So this is holding 1, 2, 3 off of this risk. So this is +3 and is poised to get more. So I like the strength in Latin America and the broad market today. That one could really go. And now the trade. Intel. If you go back and replay yesterday, you would have heard me moaning and whining about holding my nose and taking the Kata 2, just like we're supposed to. And yesterday you heard me talk about when do you trust your gut and when do you trust your rules. And what I said was, I trust my rules at the entry because they're designed to make me feel horrible, because the rest of the market would be nervous in the service with that entry yesterday. So at the entry, I follow my rules. And then for exits, to get earlier exits, I follow my intuition. So today we got the favorable gap up, which was a 2R gap in our favor. So added. At the next R multiple, added. And now it closed up in here. So on that first position, we get 3. We're holding 5 on the first one, 3 on the second one, 2 on the third one. That's a 10R trade in Intel and still going. Longer term, this thing is free and clear. That is ready to go. It has broken out. And that's nothing more than a COTA 2. And now notice the power of the emerging dragon. Notice how that at right in here, it was testing and then voted to the upside. This was the logical place for it to fail. It didn't. Once that tension was resolved, boom. And that's why the third entry there was warranted. You've got to respect those statistically significant turning points that are marked by the turning points in the RL10 and also in the hump of the dragon. And my brother says, ooh, look at it on the 9 days. So we will. And today was the first PSAR flip of the whole Intel. My friends, we are in early days of Intel's recovery. And there's nothing but government money going to get thrown at this thing. That is as clear a sign of a turning point as you can get. Now notice the RL30 on the 9 day. This is now an owl entry to the upside. Why do I say that? Because we had a horrible winter. And then it couldn't fail any further. Winter turned to spring. You get the RLXD. You get the PSAR flip. The dragon is sloping upward. And now the RL30 is sloping upward. And there is your owl entry. Thank you, Mr. Owl. Intel. All systems go. So that's 10R on Intel today. That will fund a lot of long-term plays. Let me say it that way. All right, back to our 30-minute. Nothing on international paper. I was really biased to the downside on this one because of this rollover and that trade. And I couldn't get this move or that move, even though that was a COTA 2. Today's gap up and turn sideways. I still think this is ready to reverse or resume out of this tight risk. But to me, I want to get the maximum focus on the things that matter. And right now, that is Mexico and Intel. So IP, I noticed it, but didn't do anything. Same with IYR. Couldn't do anything with it, although the at the time I considered the stop and reverse, but didn't take it, and now regret that a little bit. This is KRE, Regional Banking, and yesterday we were short on the rollover. Today it gapped and monkeyed around, and as it started stabilizing and didn't fail further, I just scratched it. I feel like that pain and suffering in KRE is now fully factored. Marijuana closed the gift SSC. Most of the last 2 days have been sideways, so I was willing to take the 2R win and cash that and reduce my overnight risk because I have large positions. Even though there's a lot of markets money, there's large positions on Mexico and Intel. So I really want to clear the deck with these other ones where I can. Clean energy. Now here's one that was a runaway freight train, but I also exited it, and here's why. So here was the COTA 2 after the sell-off, which held support right where it's supposed to. And then you get a COTA 2 entering right where I'm supposed to. Here's another higher low. That makes this a COTA 2 today. When it clears the RL10, I feel good. Here's a continuation. I'm 2R in hand. I add. And when this one does the little wiggle and go, I say, why not? And then because I have 4 positions on this thing, on clean energy, which has been terrible, and It's right at the top of the 10-day high and right where it has collapsed before. I said, 4 positions, but I'm only holding about 3 on this one, 2 on that one, 1 on this one, and a half on this one. That's about 6.5 R, but it's got 4 positions. So I felt like I was a little out in front of my skis on this one. So I decided to cash the 6 and concentrate on Intel and Mexico, which had stronger moves. Rivian is the one that got away. So yesterday, after this caught a 2 to the downside, and right here I thought hard about exiting. I decided to maintain it, and now this one gapped from here to here. So that was in terms of 1R. This went from +1 to -2. That was a 3R adverse gap. So this one ends up being a -2. Now the Intel and Mexico trades were going so well that I didn't take the revenge trade. Although that would be my normal behavior because I'm bitter. So that one is -2, and into every life a little rain must fall. Treasuries. This was the tail end of a 3-day swing, which started with the gap and rollover, standard risk, and that made 2R in 3 days. Maybe that is the gift for the surprise loss in Rivian. So those two kind of canceled each other out in my view. Back to the 0 state. Hey, here's something. If you're standing around and you're looking at the worries or the positives of life, just look at the positive, look into the sun, look towards the sun, and the shadow will be behind you. All you will see is the bright and the beautiful, and the shadows are behind you. You don't even see them. So be positive. Tesla, this was a SSC at yesterday's close, and then it gave me a COTA 2 continuation. And I liked the strong move today in the market and in tech, and so I added a second position, even though it's not at 2R. This is 2 positions with a total of 1R in hand, but it was Tesla, and there's still a nice move to the top of the 10-day, so I decided to go for it. And then finally, U.S. Steel, single position from the COTA 2, and it has closed nicely, and it's holding +2. So pretty good day and a pretty good week so far. Rivian is the only sort of the only bad one out of that, but feeling pretty good about all those. Now to the pure intraday. I just got to tell you, if you guys aren't swing trading the 30-minute charts, I just don't know why. All right, so this is Intel. Here was yesterday's gap, or close, I should say. Here's the gap up and go. There's one risk box off the bottom, so I buy it with a standard risk. And standard exit. So +2 on the first one, check or hold. COTA 2 reentry, scratch. COTA 2 reentry, 2R battle drill second position, exit. 1, 2, 3. 3 on the first one, 1 on the second one. Total of 4 plus a little change probably. And we like that one. So we're at 2, and 0 and 4. So we're about 6 into this one. Now remember, the swing trade on this one was holding 10 separately. And just the 6R from here is helping to fund the overnight risk. So we got some markets money in action here. Caught a 2 re-entry, plus 2. So now we're holding 8. And I think that was it. Yep. So 8R on the turbo on Intel, plus 10 on the swing trade. Yeah, Intel been very, very good to us. Here's the pure sniper trade of the day. Tesla. Here is the close yesterday. Here was the gap up. Here is the OR3. Next bar breaks out, so we're long. Standard risk box here. Check or hold. Quick no lose plus dinner for 2. Then it rolls over and hits the PSAR, so I take the short. And that one really surprised me. So that one is 1 unit of risk, 1, 2, 3. Elliott comes back to here, so the exit is here. So that's about plus 2. Then it rolls over right away. So I get short again with the standard risk box. I'm looking for this. That one gives me about a half an hour loss. Then it gives me the PSAR flip and an SSC, so I get long. Right? So just so you can follow the graphic. So this one was a fractional win. Here was the PSAR flip south for 2R. It rolled over. I went short. It reversed, so I cut it here for about minus 0.5. It then continued to gain, and it broke out above the PSAR, so I took that as an SSC, and now I'm long with the stop right here. Check or hold. Second position, standard exit for about 2R. Here's 1 unit of risk. So that's about 2 for this one. And then this one is pretty much a scratch. That pays for a little bit of spillage and whatnot. So that one's about plus 2. This one was about plus 2 as well. I like that recovery trade, so I didn't play. This was a legitimate PSAR flip, and you wouldn't have lost money on the short if you stopped in reverse. I waited for the COTA 2. At this point, the market was doing pretty well, so I waited for the COTA 2. I tried it long. It failed immediately, so minus 0.5. I still have a long side bias on Tesla, so I couldn't take advantage of that COTA 2 short, which would not have lost money. But then I played the COTA 2 long. That's really more of an SSC. That one gives about 2R. So that's around 6 for the day in Tesla. Pretty good day. Let's go to the traders. This is Agnieszka doing some work on US dollar Swiss franc. She gets a 0.8 to here. Continuation, it takes, I think she waits too long to get out. I'd like to see you take that in here instead of here. She tries the short on the PSAR flip just in time to get bottom tick. Cuts it. This is slow to get in. Like, as soon as it comes out of the dragon, we might be able to get that here with a nice tight wrist box like that. But she gets this one, gets paid for 0.5, and after all that, good hard work, 0.1. Still in the green. Here she is on the 5-minute on the DAX. Z3 breakout. Standard wrist box. 1.1. There was a short here. There was also a PSAR flip, a CATA 2, and that could have paid. Stay with them when they're moving, especially when you have a long time period like this of consolidation. It doesn't surprise me in the next equivalent time period, 1, 2, 3 big moves. This is super quiet, and now this is super volatile. Find the movers. Euro dollar, or I'm sorry, the Euro Aussie dollar, I should say. Tries to short, quick cut, stop and reverse, quick cut, re-enters, gets paid. There was another one in there, but 0.2, and we'll take that one. So that was about 1.5 for the day. Good work. Bob Rourke shares with us the owl storyteller, the owl shaman, looking wise. I thought it got a little stubborn in here. The OR3 short takes the -1, tries it again, -1, says, okay, let me try it long, takes a half loss. This was slow to get in. He takes the full R loss, and then we don't take the CATA 2 short, and that becomes a scratch instead of a win. And by now you're so angry that we missed the normal entry. So that was a little bit of stubbornness, but it makes up for it with the nice plays in Tesla twice. I would think about this as a second entry here or right here on the CATA 2. That's the emerging dragon. That would be the CATA 2. But after that harsh sell-off and then it's holding support, that's a place where you can add. So he gets it all back plus then some. Basically flat on U.S. steel. The money was in the gap, so flat. Quick scratch. I like that one. He was going long. It didn't work and started it, so he just cut it. We might have gotten a little sooner on this one here, but that's still pretty good. And then I think we gave back way too much. May have given back too much on this one as well. When you look at the size of the blue box versus the green, I think we gave it a little more respect. But the total for the day, 1.3, respectable. And then Arch had a long side bias today, and that long side bias cost him the collapsing dragon of the day. This was good patience waiting for the sideways chop to break out. That's pretty good. I think that's the one that just keep asking yourself, how important is it to have a bias, and how long do you have to hold on to it before you can follow price? I don't think you need a bias. But if you have one, how quickly can it be disproven? All right, into the dailies. Dashboard 1. Bullish, normal, up, up and away, strength. Risk off, but getting better. The big winner. Intel, baby. And plenty of room to go. Just remember that 9-day chart. Intel is the word. And then in the ETFs, the word is Mexico to me. And a couple auto framers still. Mexico. Oh, and tech. Just notice that tech, S&P tech, that's the old school tech like Cisco, Microsoft, Apple, and Intel. That's where the show is right now. Microsoft is crushing things with that chat GPT. Just a couple auto framers and lots of pinches today, so expect a range expansion tomorrow. No Godzillas because the move back has been strong. Not much volatility even among the one-day movers. Only three are enraged on the 5 and 10 day. And you should not be surprised to see Intel. All the signs are there. Signs are there. There's only a handful that are above the 2-to-1 on the auto framer. PayPal, Wood, Simon Property Group Treasuries, Block. There's a real difference between NVIDIA, Texas Instruments, and Intel. This thing is already at its 10-day high, as is Texas Instruments. So NVIDIA is lagging a little bit. Its two peers. Alcoa is the best from a frame perspective. Cliff is in the middle for the metals, and U.S. Steel fully valued. Stop me if you've heard this tune before. Intel with a score of 400 on the 2-day look back. Here's Mexico. Price cannot hide from that chart. It can't hide from the sniper. Finally, the trading value, guys. Intel ain't bad. 3% daily range, but otherwise the top 5. Tesla, marijuana, clean energy, NVIDIA, Devon Energy, Intel. Its vigorous moves lately are making its frog quality number bad, but the large intraday percentage makes up for a lot of that. All right, that's everything we got for today. We'll get it published and posted. Clock is ticking down for the creativity cohort that's starting in April. Get it while it's hot. Cheers. Keep your wrist measured and powder dry. Yeah, I'm with you on the marijuana, Bill.